Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my continuation of my book reading of Stephen King's Later. It was 2 or 3 weeks later when Liz kidnapped me. You could see she did that the first time with Terrell, but you could call that a soft snatch. This time, it was the real deal. She didn't force me into her car kicking and screaming, but she still forced me. Which makes it kidnapping as far as I'm concerned. I was on the tennis team, and on my way home from the bunch of practice matches, which our coach called heats for some damn reason, I had my pack on my back and my tennis duffel in one hand. I was headed for the bus stop and saw a woman leaning against a beat-up Toyota and looking at her phone. I walked past without a second glance. It never occurred to me that this scrawny chick, straw blonde hair blowing around the collar of an unzipped duffel coat, oversized gray sweatshirt, beat-up cowboy boots disappearing into baggy jeans, was my mom's old friend. My mom's old friend had favorite tapered slacks in dark colors and a low-cut silk blouse. My mom's old friend wore her hair slicked back and pulled into a short stump of ponytail. My mom's old friend had looked healthy. "Hey champ, not even know how you doing for an old friend?" I stopped and turned back. For a moment I still didn't recognize her. Her face was bony and pale. There were blemishes untouched by makeup dotted her forehead. All the curves I admired and the little boy way granted were gone. The baggy sweatshirt beneath the coat showed only a hint of what had been generous breasts. At a guess, I'd say she was 40 or even 50 pounds lighter and looked 20 years older. Liz? Not another. She gave me a smile, then obscured it by wiping her nose with the heel of her hand. Strung out, I thought. She is strung out. How are you? Maybe not the wisest question, but the only one I could think of under circumstances. And I was careful to keep what I considered to be safe distance for her, so I could outrun her if she tried anything weird. Which sounded like a possibility because she looked weird. Not only actors pretending to be drug addicts on TV, but like the real ones you saw from time to time, nodding out on park benches or in the doorways of abandoned buildings. I guess New York is a lot better than it used to be. But dopers are still an occasional part of the scenery. How do I look? Then she laughed, but not in a happy way. Don't answer that, but hey. We did a mitzvah once upon a time, didn't we? I deserve more credit for that than I got, but what the hell? We saved a bunch of lives. I thought of all I've been through because of her. And it wasn't just because of Terrell either. She had fucked up my mom's life too. Liz Dutton had put us both through a bad time. And here she was again, a bad penny turning up when you least expected it. I got mad. You didn't deserve any of the credit. I was the one who made him talk, and I paid the price for it. You don't want to know. She cocked her hand. Sure I do. Tell me about the price you paid, champ. A few bad dreams about a hole in his head? You want bad dreams? Take a look at 3 crispy critters and burned out USV sometime. One of them just a kid in a car seat. So what price did you pay? Forget it, I said, and started walking away. She reached out and grabbed the strap of my tennis duffel. Not so fast. I need you again, champ, so saddle up. No way, and let go of my bag. She didn't, so I pulled. There was nothing to her, and she went to her knees, letting out a small cry and losing her grip on the strap. A man who was passing stopped and gave me a look adults give a kid when they see him doing something mean. You don't do that to a woman, kid. Fuck off, Liz told him. Get into her feet. I'm police. Whatever. Whatever, the man said, and got walking again. He didn't look back once. You're not policeman. You're not police anymore, I said. And I'm not going anywhere with you. I don't even want to talk to you, so leave me alone. Still, I felt a little bad about pulling her so hard she went on her knees. I remember her on her knees in our apartment too, but because she was playing Matchbox cars with me. I tried to tell myself that wasn't another life, but it didn't work because it wasn't another life. It was my life. Oh, but you are coming. If you don't want the whole world to know who you really wrote Regis Thomas' last book, that is, the biggest bestseller that pulled T away from bankruptcy just in time. The bestseller. You wouldn't do that. Then, the shock of what she said cleared away a little. You can't do that. It would be your word against Mom's. The word of a drug trafficker plus a junkie? From the look of you, so who believes you? No one. She had put her phone in her back pocket. Now, she took it out. Tia wasn't the only one recording that day. Listen to this. What I heard made my stomach drop. It was my voice, much younger, but mine, telling Mom that Purity would find the key she's been looking for under the rotten stump on the path of Rayonock Lake. How does she know which stump? Martin Betancourt chalked a cross on it. What does she do with it? Takes it to Hannah Rudin. They go into the swamp together and find the cave. Hannah makes the seeking fire, the stuff that almost got her hung as a witch. That's right, and he says George Treadgill sneaks after them. And he says that looking at Hannah makes George tumescent. What's that, Mom? Never mind. Liz stopped the recording there. I got a lot more, not all of it, but an hour at least. No doubt about it, champ. That's you telling your mother the plot of the book she wrote. And you will be a bigger part of the story. James Conklin, boy medium. I stared at her, my shoulders sagging. Why didn't you play that for me before, when we went looking for Terriold? She looked at me as if I was stupid. Probably because I was. I didn't need to. Back then you were basically a sweet kid who wanted to do the right thing. Now you're 15 old enough to be a pain in the ass. Wish you could be right as a teenager, I guess, but that's a discussion for another day. Right now the question is this. Do you get in the car and take a ride with me, or do I go to this reporter I know on the post and give him the juicy scoop about the agent who faked her dead client's last book with the help of her ESP son? Take the ride where? It's a mystery tour, champ. Get in and find out. I didn't see any other choice. Okay, but one thing. Stop calling me champ, like I was your pet horse. Okay, champ. She smiled. Joking, just joking. Get in, Jamie. I got in. Which dead person am I supposed to talk to this time? Whoever it is, and whatever they know, I don't think it will keep you from going to jail. Oh, I'm not going to jail, she said. I don't think I like the food, let alone the company. We passed a sign posting to the Cuomo Bridge, which everyone in New York still calls the Tapon Z. Or just the tap. I didn't like that. Where are we going? Renfield. The only Renfield I knew was the Count Fly-Eating Helper in Dracula. Where is that? Someplace in Terrytown? Nope. Little town just north of the New Pulps. It'll take us 2 or 3 hours, so sell back and enjoy the ride. I stared at her stared at her, more than alarmed, almost horrified. You've got to be kidding. I'm supposed to be home for supper. Looks like Tia's going to be eating in solitary splendor tonight. She took a small bottle of whitish yellow powder from the pocket of her duffel bag, the kind that has a little gold spoon attached to the cap. She unscrewed it in one hand, tapped some of the powder into the back of her hand she was using to drive, and snorted it up. She screwed the cap back on, still one-handed, and repocketed the vial. The quick dexterity of the process spoke of long practice. She saw my expression and smiled. Her eyes had new brightness. I'd never seen anyone do that before. What a shouted laugh you led, Jamie. I had seen kids smoke the herb, had even tried it myself, but the harder stuff? No. I'd been offered ecstasy at school dance, and turned it down. She ran the palm of her hand all over her nose again. Not a charming gesture. I offer you some. I believe in sharing, but this is my own special blend. Coke and heroin. 2-to-1. With just a dash of fentanyl. I build up a tolerance. It will blow your head off. Maybe she did have a tolerance, but I could tell when it hit her. She sat up straighter and talked faster, but at least she was still driving straight and keeping to the speed limit. This is your mother's fault, you know. For years, all I did was carry dope from point A, which was usually the 79th Street Boat Basin or Stewart Airport, to point B, which could be anywhere in the in the 5 boroughs. At first, it was mostly cocaine, but times changed because of OxyContin. That shit hooks people fast. I mean, kabang. When their doctor stopped supplying it, the dopers bought it on the street. Then the price went up, and they realized they could get about the same high from the big white nurse and cheaper, so they went to that. It's what the man we're going to see supplied. The man who's dead. She frowned. Don't interrupt me, kiddo. You want to know? I'm telling you. The only thing I could remember wanting to know was where we're going, but I didn't say that. I was trying not to be scared. It was working a little because this was still Liz, but not very much because this didn't seem like the Liz I'd known at all. Don't get high in your own supply, that's what they say. That's the mantra. But after Tia kicked me out, I started chipping a little, just to keep from being too depressed. Then I started chipping a lot. After a while, you couldn't really recall it chipping at all. I was using. My mom kicked you out because you brought junk into the house, I said. It was your own fault. Probably would have been smarter to keep quiet, but I couldn't help it. Her trying to blame mom for what she'd become made me mad all over again. In any case, she paid no attention. I'll tell you one thing though, Jamie. I have never used the spike. She said this with a kind of deviant pride. Never once. Because when you snort, you've got a shot at getting clean. Shoot that stuff and you're never coming back. Your nose is bleeding. Just to trickle down that little gutter between her nose and the upper lip. Yeah, thanks. She wiped with the heel of her palm again, then turned to me for a second. Did I get it all? Uh-huh. Now look at the road. Yes, sir. Mr. Backseat driver, sir, she said. And for just a moment, she sounded like the old Liz. It didn't break my heart, but it squeezed a little. We drove, the traffic wasn't too bad for a weekday afternoon. Now I thought about my mother. Still be at the agency now, but she'd be home soon. At first, she wouldn't worry. Then she would worry a little. Then she would worry a lot. Can I call mom? I won't tell her where I am, just that I'm okay. Sure, go ahead. I took my phone out of my pocket and then it was gone. She grabbed it with the speed of a lizard snaring a bug. Before I had even quite realized what was happening, she had opened her window and dropped it onto the highway. "Why did you do that?" I shouted. "That was mine." "I'm glad you reminded me about your phone. Now we're following signs to 187, the true way." "I totally forgot. They don't call it dope for nothing, you know?" And she laughed. I punched her on the shoulder. The car swerved, then straightened. Someone gave us a honk. Liz wiped another glance at me, as she wasn't smiling now. She had the look she would probably got on her face when she was reading people their rights. "You know, perps, hit me again, Jamie, and I'll hit you back in the balls hard enough to make you puke. God knows, it wouldn't be the first time someone puked in this fucking beater." "You want to try fighting me while you're driving?" Now the smile came back, her lips parting just enough to show the tops of her teeth. "Try me." I didn't try anything, including, if you're wondering, yelling for the creature inhabiting Terriolt, although it was now theoretically at my command. "Whistle and you'll come to me, my lad, remember that?" The truth is, he or it never crossed my mind. I forgot, just like Liz forgot to take my phone at first. I didn't even have a snoutful of dope to blame. I might not have done it anyway. Who knew if it would actually come? And if it did, well, I was scared of Liz. But more scared of the deadlight thing. That madness, the destruction of your very soul, the professor had said. Think about it, kiddo. If you called and said you were fine, but taking a little ride with your old friend Lizzie Dutton, do you think she'll just say, "Okay, Jamie, that's fine. Make her buy you dinner"? I said nothing. She'll call the cops. But that isn't the biggest thing. I should have gotten rid of your cell right away. Because she can track it. My eyes widened. Bullshit, she can't. Liz nodded, smiled again. Eyes on the road again as we pulled past a double box semi. She put the locator app on the first phone she gave you when you were 10. I was the one who told her how to hide it, so you wouldn't find it and get all pissy about it. "I got a new phone 2 years ago," I muttered. There were tears sprinkling the corners of my eyes. I don't know why I don't know the word. Wait a minute, maybe I do. Whip-shaved. That's how I felt. Whip-sawed. Anyway. You think she didn't put that app in the new one? Liz gave a harsh laugh. Are you kidding? You're her one and only kiddo. Her little princeling. She'll still be tracking you 10 years from now, when you're married and change your first kid's diapers. Fucking liar, I said. But I was talking to my own lap. She snorted some more of her special blend once we were clear of the city. The movement just as agile and practiced. But this time her car did squirm a little, and we got another disapproving honk. I thought of some cop lighting us up, and at first I thought that would be good. That it would end this nightmare, but maybe it wouldn't be good. In her current wired state, Liz might try to outrun the cop and manage to kill us both. I thought of the Central Park man. His face and upper body had been covered with somebody's jacket, so the bystanders couldn't see the worst of it. But I had seen it. Liz brightened up again. You'll make a hell of a detective, Jamie. With your particular skill, you'll be a star. No murderer would escape you, because you could talk to the Vix. This idea had actually occurred to me once or twice. James Conklin, detective of the dead, or maybe to the dead. I never figured out which sounded better. Not the NYPD though, she continued. Fuck those assholes, go private. I could see your name on the door. She briefly raised both hands from the wheels as it framed. Another honk. Drive the fucking car, I said, trying not to sound alarming. It probably didn't work because I was alarmed. Don't worry about me, champ. I've forgotten more about driving than you'll ever learn. Your nose is bleeding again, I said. She wiped it with the heel of her palm, then wiped it on her sweatshirt. Not for the first time, by the look of it. Septum's gone, she said. I'm going to fix it. Once I'm clean. After that, we were quiet for a while. And I'm gonna stop it here for this part of the book reading. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.